So recently, Randy Orton split the wrestling fan base when responding to a post that tried to summarize what the indie style is. The post basically implied that indie wrestling nowadays is just a bunch of guys busting out all their big moves and kicking out of them, which essentially makes the moves mean nothing, along with a lot of diving, of course. To this, Randy Orton responded in a tweet saying, "Dive." Now, from hearing this argument about indie style versus the WWE style, it got me a bit confused. I mean, sure, you do see a lot of indie matches where wrestlers throw in-ring psychology out the window for the sake of wowing the fans with high-risk moves. But when I watch WWE television nowadays, I see that same style being implemented there. It's honestly very confusing to me as a viewer when I hear a "This is awesome" chant almost every week on Raw and SmackDown, and yet at the same time I see a bunch of people complaining that the current product sucks. So which one is it? Is WWE constantly putting out amazing matches, or is the product stale? It seems that WWE has been contributing to this indie craze just as much as indie feds have, and no one really talks about it. And if you don't believe me, then let's compare the two. So right off the bat, we have the kickouts. You know what I'm talking about. When someone hits a really devastating move, then covers his opponent, and they kick out, and all of a sudden, everyone acts shocked. Now, WWE has been guilty of doing this for years, but they only save it for big occasions, such as between Rock and Austin at WrestleMania 17, and Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at both WrestleMania 25 and 26. But these moments could be excused because they were big matches, and when you save moments like these for special occasions, it results in a truly genuine reaction from the fans. I'll never forget WrestleMania 28 when Undertaker kicked out the super kick pedigree combo move by Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I fell to the floor in shock because I truly wasn't expecting it. Now that is how you shock someone. You know what isn't shocking? Seeing Sami Zayn hit the blue thunder bomb a million times and someone always kicks out, and yet Michael Cole yells every time, "This could be it! Sami has it!" I don't think I've ever seen Sami Zayn win a match with that move, so why should I ever think he's about to win with it now? Now I know that the blue thunder bomb isn't Sami's finisher, but when you perform a move that takes so long to set up and is so impactful and it never gets the job done, then you need to ditch that move. I don't want this to seem like I'm bashing the wrestlers who came up from the indie scene, like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, or Finn Balor, but it truly can't be denied that this style they were brought up from is seeping its way into the current product. When you watch a match, you want to be invested in the action, and to do this, WWE needs to allow us to buy the idea that these people are trying to beat the other person. And when wrestlers no-sell moves, it becomes hard to buy the action. Look at the ending of the Women's Championship match at Fastlane this year. Bayley hit Charlotte with her finishing maneuver, the Bayley to belly on the outside of the ring, which we are always told is harder than the ring mat. Not even a minute later, when Bayley rolls Charlotte into the ring, Charlotte rolls a Bayley up for a 2 count and is seen standing seconds later. Now when I saw this, I was completely taken out of the match because by neutering the champion's best move, you essentially take all tension out of the match. When I started watching wrestling in 2009, the thing that always drew me back in was the drama. If I was watching a match, I'd shriek when a guy I didn't like was preparing to hit his finisher because previous matches told me that once he hit that move, the match would be over. That tension kept matches interesting because whether you know that wrestling is predetermined or not, the wrestlers have to make it look like they're in a real fight. This is what indie wrestling gets a lot of flack for with matches like Ricochet versus Will Ospreay not really respecting the idea of making sure your moves mean something. But when you watch matches in WWE nowadays, how often do we see people kick out of John Cena's attitude adjustment or AJ Styles Clash? Finishers are rarely protected in wrestling, period, and it hurts the match quality as a result. Now, one of the biggest problems I can think of when I think of wrestling is that they waste all the moves. Everyone has to hit all their big spots in every match, and this makes the viewer numb to them. No one gets shocked anymore when they see someone do a super kick or a suicide dive because you see it a million times. It becomes just as memorable as a suplex or a headlock. Honestly, just talking about the super kick being a big move in a match nowadays seems so laughable because it used to be used by one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Shawn Michaels, and it was his finisher no less. But now it's a move you see in so many matches in the indies, most notably used by the Young Bucks. Now moving things back to the WWE, how many times have we seen someone like Neville pre-cruiserweight era bust out some crazy dive or flippy move on his opponents? At first it would wow the audience, but after a while it gets old because you've seen everything he can do. In NXT, if you watched Neville's matches, you'd see that he rarely performed high-risk stunts in his matches, unless it was a championship match. This made sense as he would need to put his body on the line in order to retain his championship, which in turn added to the story they were trying to tell by showing just how much Neville really wanted to win. If he just did a suicide dive in every match, then you would think he's a fool who's just out there to give WWE a moment to put in future network specials. No moves feel special anymore because all these promotions are more concerned with instant gratification so they can get an awesome chant at the show. This doesn't just apply to wrestling moves either. Look at all the gimmick pay-per-views we have like Extreme Rules, TLC, or Hell in a Cell. At this point, I don't look at someone going through a table or jumping off a ladder as an OMG moment. It's just some spot that I know is going to happen multiple times each year. Just think back to the days when specialty matches were saved for moments when rivalries were really heated, like at No Way Out in 2001 when Triple H faced Steve Austin in a 3 Stages of Hell match. That match was very memorable because it served a purpose. That rivalry required a match like that because they had a heated rivalry that lasted almost an entire year. Nowadays, it's just a matter of what month is it on the WWE calendar, which leads to my other point, which is that when you're just trying to get all your big spots in one match, no one looks like they're trying to win the match. A shoot interview from Al Snow, where he compares wrestling to boxing, has always stuck out to me. He says that the only thing fake about wrestling is the outcome, but at the end of the day, both sports are still trying to sell a fight to you, but now it seems like wrestling is more concerned about selling good action rather than the believability of the fight. Looking at the state of wrestling today, I can't help but agree. Whether it's in an indie fed or in the WWE, the goal seems to be on selling the action rather than a fight to see who's the best.